Imagine you lived in a world with no streetlights, no glowing screens, no hum of electricity, only silence, only darkness. The kind of darkness that breathes, where every sound feels alive, a rustle of wind like distant wings, a heartbeat echoing in the void. You sit beside a single candle, its tiny flame flickers, dancing shadows across your face, the only proof that light still exists. And then, in the far distance, to the east, you see it. A faint shimmer at first, a whisper of rose and gold, a bundle of molten light rising from the horizon, slowly, inevitably, as if the earth itself exhales warmth. That moment, that trembling return of light, was the first thing humanity ever hoped for. The first prayer, unspoken, primal. The first resurrection, not of flesh, but of hope. Before temples of stone, before gods with names, before scriptures etched in gold, there was only this, the longing for the dawn, the ache in the chest when night stretched too long, to want to understand that light is a natural human thing. It is curiosity in its purest form, the child reaching for fire, the elder tracing constellations with trembling fingers, the instinct to make sense of the universe that gives and takes, dies and rises, that swallows stars and births them again. That was the birth of belief and the seed of science. Both born from the same sunrise, twins separated only by time and language. Long before Horus, before Osiris, before the pyramids pierced the sky, the sun itself was the first divinity. Not because it demanded worship, but because it gave life, without contract, without creed. It warmed the seed in the soil, dried the tears on a nomad's cheek, painted the desert in liquid amber. The ancients did not invent gods, they translated the sky, its silence into story, its fire into metaphor, its rhythm into ritual. Every dawn the horizon became a temple, open to all, owned by none. Every ray a revelation, a promise written in light. When Horus appeared, falcon-eyed and skyborn, he was not a new god. He was the personification of what humanity had already known in the marrow of their bones. That light always returns. That life somehow always finds its way back from the dark, even when the night seems eternal. But then came civilization, and with it, control. Empires rose like stone giants. Priests codified the sacred into law. Kings claimed the heavens as their birthright. They took the sun's rhythm, its perfect impartial cycle, and wrapped it in story and hierarchy, in crowns and thrones and bloodlines. They gave light a name, a face, a title, and the free language of the cosmos became the property of institutions, locked behind walls of dogma and gold. Because this world runs on power, and power is not about gold or land. The true empire is built on the mind. Whoever controls what people believe controls what they can imagine. And whoever controls imagination controls the future, shapes wars before they are fought, writes history before it happens. So the solar truth was buried, not destroyed, but rebranded. The Son of God became the Son of God. The laws of astronomy turned into theology. The rhythm of dawn became dogma, enforced by sword and sermon alike, and from that misinterpretation came centuries of conflict. Christians arguing with Muslims, Muslims debating with Jews, wars waged in the name of divine order, men killing men over which version of sunlight was holy, which name for the light was true, all of them forgetting that the same star rises over every scripture, every mosque, every church, every temple ruin. That truth was never divided, only translated, distorted, weaponized. The priests of Heliopolis aligned their temples to the exact moment of dawn. So the first ray struck the altar like a spear of fire. Centuries later, cathedrals faced east for the same reason. Chartres, Notre Dame, Hagia Sophia, all oriented to the rising sun. Halos around saints, radiant crowns on emperors, crosses shaped like solar wheels, all borrowed from the same celestial code. Egypt's knowledge still breathes in the architecture of faith, in the geometry of grace. Technology has now resurrected the old gods in silicon and light. Screens glow like miniature suns, portals of captured dawn. Cities shimmer with artificial dawn, neon halos crowning skyscrapers. We have captured daylight in circuits, eternalized the face of Horus in code, in pixels that pulse like heartbeats. We traded stone for silicon, altars for algorithms. Yet the same question remains. Do we understand the light, or do we merely consume it, scrolling through eternity without seeing? Imagine if humanity remembered the truth. If every school taught that the story of Horus, of Christ, of Mithras, of Krishna were all reflections of one cosmic pattern. The sun dying and rising, the light returning after darkness. Not superstition, but astronomy. Not dogma, but design. Not religion, but rhythm. The heartbeat of the universe itself. If children grew up knowing that enlightenment means awareness, not allegiance, then holy wars would cease. No one would kill for light that shines on everyone, on the believer and the doubter, on the palace and the prison. The powers that be fear that awakening because it cannot be ruled. An enlightened mind kneels to nothing but truth. That is why the myth was veiled, why the language of the stars was silenced. Not out of malice, but because awareness dissolves authority, like dawn dissolving shadow. The sun does not ask for loyalty, it simply rises. It gives without prejudice, burns without bias, and leaves when its work is done. That is divinity, not domination. That is freedom, not fear. The ancients knew it. They carved its path into stone at Abu Simbel, at Karnak, at Giza, so that when we forgot the language of the sky, the earth itself would remember, whispering through wind-polished rock. Look up. I am still here. The sun has never left us. It only waits for our eyes to open, not just to see the light, but to become it. If this light reached you, whisper back. What stirred in your darkness? Thank you for listening, and if you'd like to journey further with me, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.